Okay.
Have you went back to this address and asked the police to go there and get your stuff back?
None of that is necessary. All that's necessary, I already have, she's been caught. There are witnesses. If she ended up admitting, if she initially tried to deflect or evade or extricate because she got boxed in and because there was another person on the call that she didn't want to lose reputation with, she ended up admitting to me because there's an eyewitness next door who saw her take.
What is this right here? What did Carter put on here? What is this? What is it?
That's the HTTP URL at which the supplement that I'm getting into the public record has been posted. Now, because there's a new posting in the last hour, I have to get this into the public record.
What is this?
What's that?
What is this?
I just need a supplement. First of all, I need two things. I need to get the thing upgraded to a criminal complaint.
It's not me. Go back to the 12th district and do it. I can't upgrade this charge. It's not me. I didn't write it. I'm not even involved. You go back to the police officer who wrote this and talk to the...
Yeah, she's on a 311 line. How am I going to get hold of her? How am I going to... So you're telling me I got to try... I don't even know whose name it is.
Oh, you did this over 311?
Yeah. I need to speak to the highest ranking supervisor here because somebody... this is totally unacceptable. The city of Chicago cannot eliminate...
So as of right now, what does this URL consist of? This copy of this case report?
No, it consists of like 20 pages of documentation going into the nuts and bolts of every aspect of this to prepare for every reasonably expectable defense that she's going to try to present.
She's not locked up. She's not arrested.
Okay, but she has to be...
What you have to do is take this case report, sir, and go to civil court and file a civil case.
Okay.
So she is then served.
Yeah. I don't need that. I'm a citizen of the United States, and the city of Chicago...
How are you going to get her in court?
Pardon?
How are you going to get her in court?
Via a criminal summons, because there's no... What element... Here's my question for you.
You don't serve criminal summonses.
Come on. Someone served this. The Cook County Sheriff's Department will serve a criminal summons.
This will never go to... This has to go civilly.
Okay, here's my point. Saying 2 + 2 = 5 or 8 or 10 doesn't make it so. Okay, saying that a cow has wings doesn't make it a bird. Okay, I understand that there's an agenda in the City of Chicago Department to not spend.
Here, this is what you need. You want a copy of the case report? You go to 35th Street like they told you on the phone.
Okay. Can I just see that? Okay, you don't have to give it to me. Just if you put it here, I can take a picture of it.
No, you can't do that. You have to get your own copy.
I'm not asking you to get a permanently. I'm just asking to see it.
No, I can't.
Why not?
Because it's not how we do it.
What policy prohibits you from making a picture of that?
That right there.
What?
The above listed RD number may suffice for insurance purposes only. That's what you got.
The above listed what?
RD number. That's what you got when you got the letter in the mail, right? That's this.
I didn't get a letter in the mail yet because it was just taken on Monday.
Okay, well that's it. Well then you had the number right there.
Right.
Okay. So for a report desired, a copy of the case report which verifies that an incident of injury, loss, or damage has been reported to the Chicago Police Department may be obtained. To obtain a copy of it, you have to go to chicagopolice.org or go to 35th Street and pay 50 cents and you will get a copy of the case report.
Okay. I'm the man that's the supervisor because there's nothing that prevents you.
I'll go get him. He's right there.
Yeah. Here at this point, I'm complaining of a deprivation of a right guaranteed by the Constitution and laws of the United States, which is a federal felony. What's that?
To the point. You don't have to tell me about the Constitution.
No, I have to tell you about it. It's the 18 U.S.C. 242 prohibits the deprivation of a right. Pardon?
Just so you know, I'm recording on my bike.
And I'm recording all this on 2 different platforms, Twitch and Facebook.
That's exciting.
Because right. All Englishmen must be solicitous for Magna Carta. I have a moral obligation to get to the bottom of this because the point is there's no element of the crime of theft that any individual has identified.
I guess it's made an email or something.
It's a URL.
But we don't do our URLs. I don't download emails and stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to. What I'm saying is the rest of the explanation.
Criminal case report. And that's it there. He came in this morning and did a supplement to this one right here, boom, and then he listed some RL out. but all this other property is there. And then he wants to list another RL or ULR. But what does this contain?
What it claims, since the time I left here, I then called the woman and I presented to her a question whether or not she intends to permanently deprive me of the property. I sent that via text, I sent it via email, and her voicemail was full. Why? Because so she cannot later claim.
Guy, it's a civil matter according to this case report. Get a lawyer.
That doesn't make it.
served,
That doesn't make it
and then
non-criminal. The fact that someone's claiming is civil doesn't make it non-criminal. Is it your position here today that an activity could be actionable civilly but not be actually criminally? Is that your position?
Here's the thing, sir. If you go to civil court,
I don't need any conversation about civil court. This is a criminal matter. What element of the crime of theft is not present? What?
Let me talk. Can I talk?
Yeah, you're out. The world's hearing what you're saying.
If you go to civil court and they determine that something criminal has happened, they can help you by changing the case report to a criminal matter. Right now, what you have is a civil matter. If you go there and they say, "Oh, you know what? There's some element of criminal activity here," they will change it to criminal matter, and then you can proceed from there. From what I'm seeing right here, and from what the supplemental report sees, it's completely civil matter or property. That's all you're going to get.
Gotcha. Then I need to speak to the highest ranking supervisor in this building because all the way through. Okay, that's you? All right, gotcha. Just so you know, a report about this going to a state grand jury, it's going to a federal grand jury. There is a problem throughout America, which was referenced in the Civil Rights Act committee meetings, Congressman Trumbull, at which point of the Reconstruction, which the freed blacks were being deprived of the protection of. Pardon?
Go back to the 1880s right now?
Exactly. The civil right, because that's where we get 18 U.S.C. 242 comes out of the Civil Rights Act of 1868. The purpose of that was because, as Trumbull said, there's a whole class of citizens that's being deprived of rights guaranteed by the constitutional laws of the United States, in that they're not getting criminal charges for criminality and violence perpetrated against them, prosecuted, much less to conviction and punishment. So that's why that's how the country ended up with 18 U.S.C. 242 getting instituted. What element of the crime of theft, which is whatever it is, which element of the crime of theft is not present in the evidence that's been presented?
I appreciate all your knowledge on this subject, and you can bring that to civil court. The element of crime is this is a dispute over property. That's it. A civil dispute over property. That is it and all.
What authority do you support and what authority do you cite in support of that claim?
The stuff that's in the case.
What's that?
The stuff that's in the case.
That the officer wrote.
The stuff that's on the supplemental report. The stuff that you told the officer to write.
Yeah,
Okay, the point is, the citizen myself was never informed. I was led to believe I was getting a police report made.
That's what you say.
Pardon?
That's what you tell the lawyers at civil court.
I don't have to tell any lawyer
Did
anything.
get a copy of a case report.
What's that?
She wrote a sub-report and gave you a copy of that sub-report. That sub-report.
Okay, here's
is attached
the
to
other
this case
alternative.
report.
Deputize me right now. You deputize me. I can go fix the problem. And then when the city of Chicago police show up, if she calls them, there's no engagement involving force, because they can simply walk away because I've been deputized. So the alternative is just deputize me and I'll go fix the problem right now. I could have fixed it before. All you got to do is deputize me in regard to this matter, and I'll go fix the problem, and I could keep the city of Chicago Police Department out of this. I keep the Cook County State's attorneys out of it. I can keep the Circuit Court of Cook County out of it. So just deputize me, or get someone that can deputize me, and the problem is solved. This is the way out of this nightmare for the poorest 90% of us. Either that, or get the criminal code operative in the state of Illinois declared to be unconstitutional as applied, either A, to this incident in regard to me, B, in regard to all things revolving me, involving any malum prohibitum arrangements and or entities, or C, get the entire component of the population that fits my moral profile, get the criminal law declared to be unconstitutional, and all these problems can be fixed in no time, because we don't have members of policing entities in the military that are obstructing us from rectifying unjust situations. What case do you cite where there's the type of facts that have been presented here in which the claim is made by some court officer in some court that promulgates publicated opinions that on this evidence there is no crime? Because here's the point. Now the city of Chicago's on the hook. Pardon?
We're getting to a point now.
What's that?
You're getting to a point?
Am I?
I was wondering if you were going to get to a point.
Yeah, here's the point. The bottom line is now, from what I can see, whoever's making this decision is incurring felony liability under both the official misconduct statute, 720 ISS 5/33 I think it's 3 or whatever it is, and also under 18 U.S.C. 242 because it's a deprivation of right guaranteed by the constitutional laws of the United States. There is a constitutionally protected right to get criminal charges instituted and prosecuted competently in a situation in which none of the elements constituting probable cause in regard to a particularly promulgated statute is lacking. What element in terms of the definition of theft of over $500 is lacking here?
All right, if you take all that knowledge and instance to court, and the lawyer decides that it's a criminal matter, it can easily be changed to that, and then a criminal statute will apply. Right now,
And then what?
a criminal statute will apply. Right now, from the facts that are in front of me and from the facts that are on that supplemental report, this is a civil dispute over property. That's all I'm going to say. I can't talk to you all day.
Gotcha. So you're being notified of this. Now he's off the hook because you have to accept the responsibility, but you're responsible for everything that he said as your support. Under 18 U.S.C. 242, I am endeavoring now to petition a federal grand jury to get evidence because I understand this constitutes a deprivation of 18 U.S.C. 242, a right that's guaranteed by the constitutional laws of the United States, which is perpetrated to be the color of law. Okay, that's what 18 U.S.C. 242 states. It's also a violation of the official misconduct statute. Now, at this juncture, because now as long as I have the whole thing locked in, now the city of Chicago becomes liable for the consideration that won't be procured if this thing isn't criminally prosecuted. So as long as I have all that locked in, then as far as I could tell, unless there's something I missed, I'm free to leave because now the city of Chicago can pay the claim and.
You've been free to leave this whole time.
Pardon?
You've been free to leave.
Yeah, but here's my point. Here's why I haven't been free. I got to get to I can't leave a hole open where it can legitimately be claimed that I consented to any of what constitutes a deprivation, as I understand it here, of the constitutional laws of the United States, actionable under 18 U.S.C. 242 and the official misconduct statute. I can't do that until I get a confirmation that it would be futile for me to continue. Once I get a confirmation it's futile for me to continue, or that I'm being required to leave the building, now it can't legitimately be claimed that there's anything more I could have done. So later because otherwise what happens in these situations all the time is this: citizens get deceived and cajoled. Can we conduct a search on your property? No. Okay. Then then the cops come and they work the thing and massage it through cajoling and deception.
The address, talk to the lady with the 12th district to retrieve his property that's still at the scene. He didn't answer my question.
Okay, I can't hear. My ears are plugged. But the bottom line is, I've been told by officers at 311 that I can go to any police district. I can get a supplementary report at any police district simply by walking in. This is not the first time something like this happened. For the poorest 90% of us, this happens all the time because and I have a whole write-up with the 8 different incentives and disincentives which have been identified. I have numerous cases of this.
Here. He says everything that's still listed is still missing, right?
Correct. So can I take if I could take a picture of that right now? Okay, on what basis can I not take a picture of that? I'm not asking you to give it to me.
Do it right here. I already read it.
Here's the point. Unless there's some red light that has to be run, why can't I simply take a picture? I'm not asking to keep it. Let me take a picture of it, and that expedites my project here. I'm saying if you don't demonstrate a legitimate basis for me not to take a picture of that, because now I also am demanding an installation of criminal charges against the officer who took the report on Monday night. Because if she classified, first of all, she put information that's not accurate. She put an address in there that she just made up that I never provided her. Okay. The second thing is, depending on what comments editorializing she put in there, is that she has now approximately caused further damages to the public's interest, that guilt not go unpunished and innocence not suffer. So I need to get criminal charges instituted against her. Now, I also, if you're not going to, you have to do one of two things. You either have to provide the consideration or demonstrate that the deprivation of the consideration can be morally and legally justified. So far, you haven't cited a single statute. You haven't cited a single case. You haven't cited a single constitutional prohibition. You haven't cited a single moral jurisprudential prohibition or restriction or application to anything. So this is not this is not acceptable in a constitutional republic. And it's realized that there really is no more constitutional republic in this country. It's been taken over by the president incarnation of the Committee 300. But there's also the issue of this. Is your activity in regard to this being orchestrated from some higher position? That's actually the most important consideration of all of this. And that's also why I need to get the criminal subpoenas so that I can put her under penalty of perjury, Teresa Flores, and force her to answer the questions at risk of incurring contempt of court as to whether or not there is anyone else who put her up to this, okay? So that's what I need at this juncture.
Where is your property now?
Pardon?
Where is your property now?
Who knows? Some pawn shop, or how do I know? She won't tell me where it is. She probably sold it.
But
What's
you
that?
never went back there with the 12th district to try to...
12th district. What does that do with anything?
That's where the building's at.
The police.
Okay, yeah. Okay, what you're saying is whatever it is on
No, what I'm saying is
on it's on
there.
Loomis or Blue Island or whatever.
No,
Whatever.
it's the 12th district.
Pardon?
Go there, call 911, have the police meet you at the building, have them open a door. Oh, there's my weight set. I'm taking my weight set back.
I have no competent evidence that's in her basement. It's what's that?
Don't you want to check for your property?
So you're saying right now that the City of Chicago Police Department will, pardon?
What do you want to do? Check for your property. What do you want to go there and see if it's still there?
Okay, first of all, I've gone back to 2212 West 19th Street. It's not there. The only other question is it in her basement at 2132 West 19th Street, or has it been taken to a pawn shop?
Don't you want to check?
Pardon?
I would want to go check and see if my property's there. And if it's been...
Well, here's my point. What would cause her to open the door? She doesn't respond to any of the emails. She doesn't respond to any voicemails. She doesn't respond to any text messages. So why would she open the door?
Maybe if the police knock on her door, she'll open.
So,
Are you done?
what's that?
Are you done? Nothing's going to change.
What's that?
Nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to what?
Nothing's going to change. There's nothing more for us to do.
Okay, gotcha.
You can
So,
expound legally, and you can
What's that?
You can expound all the laws legally and all the Constitution and all the common law that you cited and stuff from stuff that the English common law that doesn't apply.
okay, let me respond to that.
No, we're not going to go down the legal route. You
Okay.
can do that in front of a judge.
Okay.
Okay? Because you're way smarter than me, and you know way more about statutes than me. That's fine. So go expound that to a judge.
I can't, there's the whole point. I can't get to the probable cause hearing, Judge, if the warrant officer claims that it's got to go through the City of Chicago Police Department. That's the whole point. That's the problem. I'm trying to get the City of Chicago Police Department out of this. Then once I get that down and I get the charges instituted, I'm going to try to get the Cook County State's Attorney out of it so that the public's interest can be adequately vindicated by someone who is concerned and considers it a priority to help protect the members of the general population from criminality and violence, which is almost never encountered in any member of the City of Chicago Police Department that I have ever encountered, other than a small percentage. That's what it comes down to. So, pardon? Pardon? What's the foundation of the question? Are you okay? Are you on medication? Okay. Well,
If you're having any mental health problems.
what's the foundation of the question?
Because you're very excited.
Yeah, well, here's my point. First of all, I'm having a hard time. If you don't speak loud enough, I can't.
You're okay.
I can't. No, I can't. My hearing is
Now you're
partly
very-
obstructed. Pardon?
This is as loud as I've been talking the whole time. So I just want to make sure that you're okay. Do you need medical attention at all? Do you need to
No. What I need is the protection of the constitutional laws. But here's the issue. I have to ask you this question. From what source of authority has the authority been conferred / derived according to which you are refusing to provide a police report? Because right now, I'm demanding that this whole thing be overdone from Monday and I get an official police report. And because here's all that's necessary. Pardon?
The report is here. It's in the system.
But it's not a police report. I didn't know until this officer told me that it isn't a police report. It's simply a civil report.
That's a police report.
Our police
And
department.
you have an RD number.
Is it a criminal report?
Not as of right now. It could be. It could be changed. Detectives change it all the time.
Okay, then right now, here's what I didn't know. Okay, here's now at least progress is being made. There's a distinction between a police report and a criminal report. What's that?
We make non-criminal case reports all the time.
But right, what you're saying is,
It really shouldn't be. It's not a purview, but
okay, here's all it comes down to. Maybe I presumed that she was completing a criminal report when she wasn't completing a criminal report. Over 311, can a criminal report be taken over 311?
Yeah, certain reports, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Like motor vehicle theft.
Pardon?
Like a motor vehicle theft.
Okay, theft over $500?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So so right now, because I can go right now, get out of here as soon as possible. I wish I never would have come in the door if there was a morally legitimate alternative. I would never have anything to do with any nominal government entities if I could avoid it. But here's the situation. You can deputize me, which clears the logjam. I'll go. I don't need the police to show up at her house. Pardon?
Can't do that. Skip that. I don't have that.
The evidence of let me ask you this question. I will ask the question. What? Because a police officer can deputize private citizens. That's well established throughout America that if there's an observer to a crime, pardon?
This sounds like English common law to me, but moving on, I can't do that.
So can you cite some authority that prohibits you from doing that? Is there any directive or political? What's that?
Chicago Police Department prohibits me from.
Okay, so you're saying searching through the directives of the City of Chicago Police Department, there's no express prohibition on it, correct?
I've also never been trained to deputize someone, so that would prohibit me.
All right, there's got to be some supervisor who will be here in the next hours that is the highest ranking watch commander that can deputize me.
None of us have been trained.
Pardon?
Possibly the superintendent, but none of us have been trained.
No one else has been trained in the deputization? So you're,
Possibly the superintendent. If you
Pardon?
want to ask the superintendent.
okay, if they violate Dart, I'm trying to get Dart indicted as it is. So let me ask you this. What's that?
You have a lot going on in the legal realm.
Exactly. And what I'm trying to do is get out of this.
Stop wasting your time.
Pardon?
All you're doing is spitting.
No, I'm not, because I'm making a record off of which a grand jury, a federal grand jury can indict, and a state grand jury can indict to get this.
Theft is not a federal crime anyway.
Pardon?
Theft is not a federal crime anyway.
But the deprivation of right guaranteed by the constitutional laws of the United States is a federal crime under 18 U.S.C. 242.
You're talking about civil.
Pardon?
You're talking about civil.
No, 18 U.S.C. 242. Title 18 is not civil. Title 18 is criminal. Okay? So,
See, you know much more than that.
pardon?
You know much more than me. Like, you're still spinning your wheels. I enjoy the conversation, but you're still spinning your wheels.
Speaking at what?
I enjoy our conversation, but you're still spinning your wheels.
Spinning your wheels. Okay, gotcha. All right, because, well, now I also have to get criminal charges instituted against the officer on Monday night, so I need to get a complaint made against that right now, a criminal report, because she led me to... Pardon? What?
There's no criminal report. Yeah, I'll give you one. I'll give you one. You want to make a complaint against an officer? A criminal complaint? Sure. Ask Copa if you can make a criminal complaint against that officer.
Yeah, but you know what? I know I can do that. That doesn't have to do with COPA. That has to do with the federal grand jury at 219 South Dearborn.
I'm sure they'll direct you to do that.
I don't need COPA. That's another...
What's the agency you don't need?
You know what? I speak at the Chicago Police Board meeting every single month since 2006. Pardon?
Is that why they're so long? Is that why those police board meetings last forever?
They cut me off at 120 seconds. Everyone else, you know what?
20 seconds, we should finish.
At 120 seconds, they shut me. They always call me last. Draw your own conclusions. They call me last. In 120 seconds, it's gone. And you could talk to Sergeant Gorecki or other people who know the insides of it. The Bland, Young, and Spencer murder remains no investigation. Complete suppression of investigation. These three guys just happened to ended up dead within 35 days of one another, all members of the same social circle, which just happened to be the social circle of an individual who wormed his way into the White House, not being a natural-born citizen. Unbelievable, but true. Pardon? The coincidentalist theory of history is something only a lunatic could accept. Benjamin Disraeli, 1848, the world is run by a far different method than the vast majority of people understand. Lenin, 1917, you get into this position in the vehicle and you find that someone else is holding the wheel. Again, Bill Clinton, 1992. I ended up here, thought I was going to make these decisions. All these decisions are made for me. That's the bottom line. And that's why I have to bear a burden to keep from ending up in Gehenna with the rest of the people who end up in Gehenna. And I have to insist on, the bottom line is this. I'm trying to get to the point where I get the criminal laws, and probably you might consider it to consider the matter if that's in your best interest to get the whole criminal code declared to be unconstitutional is applied to me and people who fit my profile. You know why? We can solve the problems like September 11th, like the COVID pandemic, like the invasion of the southern border, like the present fires in Canada, to get the global warming pretext to criminalize all uses of energy. All the rest of these things are detriment vectors. You can read naturalnews.com. Mike Adams, 1600 in the SAT, has his own lab, turned down a full scholarship to MIT. He's got all the highest ranking insiders who haven't yet been purged. And on a day-to-day basis, he explains what the detriment vectors are and how the member of the population that isn't totally stupefied, pacified, torpified, and otherwise whatever else I was going to say, can fix the problem before it's irremediable. But at any rate, what I have to do is, at this point, if you could have just given me that document so I could take a picture of it, I'm not asking you, what? Pardon?
I love to, but the procedures are on your victim information notice.
Right, but, okay, my question is this: what nominal legal edict prevents you from handing me that right now so that I can make a picture of it and give it back to you? Because then you haven't given it to me.
Nominal legal edict?
That prohibits you from simply giving me that document. Pardon?
Is our department directives that say I can't give you an unredacted report that hasn't been reviewed?
Now we're making headway. You can't give me...
An unredacted report that hasn't been reviewed. That's why there's a fee involved, and you have to go through 50 Michigan.
Okay, you can't give me an unredacted... I'm sorry, please repeat the exact words. You can't give me an unredacted report?
Unredacted report that hasn't been reviewed by the powers of government. Honestly, those powers, I don't know who.
Okay, what directive... You're saying you're certain there is a directive. If you know the exact identification of that directive... No, gotcha. Okay. All right. So but wait a second. You're saying you can't give me that, but tomorrow I can get that at 3510 South Michigan.
It's been reviewed. And there is some amount of time element there that they need to review.
Okay, gotcha. So there is a distinction. Okay. At least I didn't get lied to in regard to that. So we're making headway. So the only reason, pardon? Well, so far here, pardon? Well, what you're saying is this is not a criminal matter, but you haven't identified a... Pardon?
Can that be changed in the future? Can other facts come to light that change it into a criminal occurrence?
Okay, let me. Here's where the question is. In what case has a crime report ever been taken for the violation? I think it's 720 ILCS 5/16-3, if I'm not mistaken, which is theft over $500. If this doesn't constitute the commission of that crime, then what fact pattern ever could possibly constitute the commission of the crime? What element of the crime is lacking in your understanding? What element of the crime? No, I didn't know until after that. She didn't take it in my presence. I was not there. The next door neighbor, pardon?
You have just hit the center of the issue.
What?
You did not know that she in fact took it.
Until the next door neighbor informed me that he observed her taking all the equipment, the weights, the file cabinets, the bench, everything else, and putting it in this guy's truck in the alley. How does that guy constitute theft? Pardon?
I don't go to the bank.
What?
Well, you need to get a copy.
Who's the third party? Yeah, but his testimony is valid when he's put under penalty of perjury. Besides that, for probable cause, hearsay is sufficient for probable cause. Pardon? No, that's nonsense. Hearsay, it's Illinois versus Gates. Type in right now on your phone. Is hearsay sufficient? Pardon?
You would need to be here and list him as a witness.
But I don't even need him, because after she admitted.
If someone stole my property, right? I come home to a burglary, and my neighbor says, "Oh, I saw the burglar."
Yeah.
And I come in here and say, "There was a burglary," and my neighbor said this.
Yeah, you gotcha.
The witness would have to
This
be
is
the
what I
police
need, a
have.
copy of
So
the
we can
check.
list him as a witness, or else you don't have anything.
Two things. What if, let me ask you this. What if you contacted the person who stole it and she admitted that she took it? This person has admitted that she took it. What's that?
You cannot admit to yourself that you hit the matter on the head. You need a witness to come in and tell
Oh, that's not so. Okay, this is another felony. Illinois versus Gates.
That's all it is. Bring the witness in.
Here's my point. Is your position here today that probable cause cannot be established by hearsay? Is it your position that probable cause cannot be established by hearsay? Pardon, what's that?
I'm going to talk to you like a regular Chicago cop.
Hold on.
Like an old,
As distinct from what?
as distinct from trying to be nice to you. You don't have anything until the witness is able to tell the police what happened. Now we are officially done. Now you can leave my station.
So what you're saying is, and if I don't leave, I'm subject to arrest, correct?
Absolutely.
Good enough. Now you're locked in. All right, because the point is she's old and it's easier to get. Pardon?
Criminal trespass to state supported. Criminal trespass to state supported land.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Oh, one last thing. Let me give you my card. I'm going to leave it anyway.
The bank.
Write it down. Copy or check for what? Have you
Spoken to the bank.
insurance? I don't know the bank what's doing. But my 200,000, it's gone.
Okay. How is it gone?
Because there was no money. It was different name in my mailbox. It was my, and says here, 8,000 instead that 200,000.
Her name Nikki?
There was different name in my box.
This isn't you?
What do you want me to do?
Is this your name?
Huh?
Is this your name?
Name, that's
Oh, one last thing.
one.
The card was left on the
Here. The other
counter.
I don't have the other. They took it back in the post office. They
And-
grabbed it for me when I was asking, and they don't give it. And they almost push me out. The girl,
Is this your account number?
that's my checking, I think, yeah.
What you think? Is it your
Checking
or is it
account.
the wrong?
Is it not
Oh, corruption. No, excuse me. Constitution.
every single day.